This is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any suggestions for games you'd like me to look at here on the channel, please let me know. Hello everybody. This is going to be a bit of a weird Dissecting Design, but we are looking at, if I can get this working, the late, great, and classic game XCOM Enemy Unknown. And unfortunately, this is one of those games that it's so old that it's a bit of a challenge to run, let alone actually record footage on. So I'm going to hopefully get this sorted. This is actually going to be attempt number 2, but unfortunately there's no way to do this without having my little background showing here. But we will make do nonetheless. XCOM UFO Defense is considered one of the best games ever made. This is the title developed by Microprose and Julian Golub back in, I believe, I want to say late 80s, early 90s, and it's typically featured on top 100 games of all time lists. It has a unique form of design which I think I've kind of coined multi-system design, which we're going to talk about here. And also, because of the fact that this is going to be such a pain to record and such, we're going to try and do this in a single take. Keep this on experience. And here is the famous Geoscape, one of the 3 main systems of XCOM. Now, when I talk about multi-system design, when we look at most video games, they usually combine elements of different genres or design and then merge it into one unique game, such as ARPGs, which combine action and role-playing games, Demon Souls, role-playing shooters like Borderlands. Multi-system design keeps these systems separate and instead almost requires you to play 2 or 3 different games, creating something that's greater than the sum of its parts. And that's what XCOM is all about. So I'm going to set my base here. We'll say it's running a little bit faster, not in full screen. So, when it comes to XCOM, there are 3 main systems. We have the Geoscape that we just showed, we have the strategic layer, or the base building here, and then we have the tactical or squad-based layer that we'll talk about next. Now, if you've played Enemy Unknown or XCOM 2, the same rules basically apply. Aliens are taking over, and we need to fund a group, or the XCOM project, in order to save the world. Now, what I'm going to do first is get our base sort of going. We're going to need some rifles. And I hope you notice also there's a whole lot more things to buy in this game compared to Enemy Unknown. That should be good. Now, unlike Enemy Unknown Firaxis' take, which was more on the gamey side of things, the original XCOM is more RPG based, built on basically hard numbers and trying to survive probability. All of our squads feature randomly generated stats based on these attributes, with the big ones being time units, accuracy, and reactions. Now, what this also means is that the difficulty of the game starting out is really dependent on luck. You may start with people with time units in the low to mid 60s, or you may get people in the 40s, which is not good. Likewise, high reactions is also great, and we'll just have to roll with it. Now, another thing I hope you notice is that this game is a lot more screen heavy in terms of presenting information. This is one of the big things about older games, which instead of having general screens or cutting down on multiple windows, this time it's just really about every screen or every decision has its own screen you have to go through, which can make it a little bit more cumbersome to play. Now, one thing I do like about the original XCOM compared to the modern one is the fact that you can actually customize your base and its layout. And advanced play relies on you actually moving things around so that only one thing is connected to your access lift, thereby making it harder for aliens to spread out when they invade. 1 second here, and we are still recording. Everything is good. Let me move this around there. Okay. Now, unlike the modern XCOMs, which was more linear in mission structure and how things would play out, the original XCOM is a lot more varied. We don't know when enemies are going to attack. Base defenses and terror missions can spring up. Alright, our first crew is here. And what we can see is based on our satellite coverage and where we're located in the world. So ideally, something will attack us soon. So to show you what I mean about the advanced play, here's what a lot of people do. So I'm going to build that. That's a living quarter, so I'm going to move that over here. And then when this is all done, I am going to sell this and just leave one right there. We should be getting an alert any second now. Alright. Our crew is here. And another thing, if you notice, is that there's a lot more squads you can have in your base or on a mission compared to the other games, or compared to Enemy Unknown and XCOM 2. Alright, so that's good. I'll put some flares on. Good. That way everyone has a gun. And we'll get one more just to be on the safe side. Now we should be getting an alert any second now. Come on. And it's also random, so I don't know when we're actually going to get an alien to pop out. Hopefully it will be soon. Good. Come on. Where are they? Huh. That is unusual. They're not showing up. Jeez. There we go. Alright, time to send out one of our interceptors and take this guy down. Here we go. And I'm going to do a standard attack, so we can hopefully just take it out, and then we can intercept. Good. Shot down our first alien, which means it's time to send out the crew. We can also manufacture, and anything that we manufacture we can also sell. We'll talk more about that after we're done with the mission. Alright, let me make sure that everybody's on board, and we will head out. Got enough rifles. Now another thing, the game is about a day-night cycle, so ideally we may want to wait a little bit. There we go. Now, let's head out. Oh, wait. Alright, team, let's go. Missions are randomly generated, and things get progressively more challenging, or get progressively difficult as the game goes on. When we're starting out, we're not going to be running into too many major threats, but we'll eventually meet sectoids, or I'm sorry, muddins, and even more nasty things like the cyber discs. Now, unlike modern XCOM, like I said, this game is a lot more RPG based. I'm going to send my team up here. I hope you notice this UI. This is a very rough UI, and one of the problems with a lot of older games. It's kind of very hard to read. Now, the first one off the boat here is usually killed, so we'll see if Mikhail can survive. Up. Oh, we got our first shot. Wow, that's lucky. Accuracy in this game is based on the weapon that you're using, combined with the squad's own accuracy rating. The better the shot, the more time units it will cost. Alright, Mikhail, you gotta do it for us. Be a hero, man. Do we have 45? Yeah, come on. Do it, man. Oh, you suck. Alright. Alright, Helga. Can you do it? Oh, come on. Somebody hit him. Again, very rough UI, but that's to be expected of a game that's over 20 years old. Come on, Paul. Yes, we got hit. Uh-oh. Oh. And the first of many deaths in XCOM. Come on, can you do it? Oh my goodness. This is like the perfect XCOM primer, too. Can we get anyone else? Somebody hit this guy. Can we get a snap? No. Throwing our gun won't help either. Now, another major part of this game is reaction shots. Basically, if you have enough time units on the enemy's turn, you may be able to take a reactionary shot at an enemy. Oh my god, no one is hitting him. Alright, buddy, can you do it? Oh god, come on. For you older fans watching this, I'm sure this is all very familiar. Don't have enough to crouch. Right, at this point, I think we just move everyone off the ship. And hope for the best. You can also set so they move and still have enough to preserve a snapshot. That way, if someone does walk into their line, they have a chance of retaliating. That's a major part when it's time for terror missions and base attacks. We will most likely lose someone else. Again, the maps are all procedurally generated, so you never know where the aliens are going to be or how many. Alright, time to die. There's one. Oh. Oh, someone survived. Alright, Helga, can you take revenge? Got hit. There we go. Got him. Now, one of the more controversial changes that was made to XCOM when it was rebooted with Enemy Unknown is, of course, removing the time units. And Firaxis made a more, I guess I want to say gamey kind of experience. While this one is more about RPG and the number and abstraction at play. So let's move our folks out. Again, we don't know where these guys are, but we need to find the UFO. And this was a nighttime mission. We would be throwing out flares like nobody's business. Alright, team, we gotta do this. We'll talk more about the progression and the brilliant use of multi-system design once we're done with this mission. Well, Alt tab for 1 second. I need to make sure that you're actually seeing this. Again, sorry about the display, but it's the only way this is going to work. Alright, Kenji, you're up. And who else is left? And when Firaxis decided to remove the time units, that was met with a lot of controversy from older fans. And it does remove some of the tactical layer of the game, but it does make the game a lot easier to play. As you see, with having 15 people in the Sky Ranger, these plays can take a very, very long time to go through. So for those of you who are on the older side who did play this or one of the older, or I guess older new XCOMs, what did you think about the game in terms of using time units? Now, one thing that I do like about the original XCOM compared to the modern ones is that it's a lot more non-linear compared to modern XCOM. Because it made it so that missions could you only had a set number of missions that could take place. And of course, the fact that terror missions and the base attack were set events instead of being random, it kind of made things a little bit more linear. Oh! Dun-dun-dun. Oh, we found the alien. Come on, Sarah. Well, she got hit, but not enough for a kill. And of course, he's not in range. Let's hope we can get a shot. Alright, Brett. Can you do it? Be an American hero. Well, we got hit. These guys just aren't going down. We'll crouch. Oh, no, we don't have the room. Oh, Kenji. Alright, 40% shot, Kenji. Do it. Yes. Now, we had an alien containment facility. We could try and capture our characters or aliens and interrogate them for information. On the good side, we found the UFO. Now, because it did crash land, we are going to get less resources out of it. But it looks like it's going to be time for a base assault or a UFO breach. As as you can see, one of the big problems with the original XCOM, again, very cumbersome UI, and it does take a long time to play. Again, if we were playing Enemy Unknown or XCOM 2, we'd be moving a whole lot quicker. But this does lead to more of the tactical nature of the game and making it a lot more interesting in terms of your options. But it is a lot slower pace. Let's see. Need to find more aliens. Alright. It looks like they all must be at the UFO. Which means it's time for, hopefully, a raid. Again, with the non-linear nature of XCOM, things are going to get progressively more challenging, and we don't know what the actual threats or the number of enemies per map. Could be 1 or 2, could be 7 or 8. And that's why you always want a full complement of squaddies whenever we go in. Okay, there's the door. Looks like a bigger ship. And another thing that's very interesting, more on the controversial side compared to the modern XCOM, in this XCOM, the enemies have their own behavior. They will move around the map with or without my interaction. With Enemy Unknown, the enemies were basically designed as like pockets, and they wouldn't interact until the player would stumble upon them. And that was one of the major complaints from older fans about modern XCOM. And I think I do agree with it. One thing about modern XCOM, it is more, like I said, gamey. Like, you can tell that they're approaching things more from a board game or more from an abstracted point of view compared to this one, which is more on the RPG side. But now I'm really interested to see how they're going to develop Phoenix Point, which is Julian's next game, which is supposed to be a spiritual successor to XCOM. And whether or not they'll keep with time units or go with a different design. Now, another thing about modern XCOM is that it is more about that kind of abstraction and more about, again, like the game elements with how units were designed. In this one, every squaddie is the same, with the only difference being, of course, what their stats were. In modern XCOM, you had the different classes, different abilities. And again, it felt more like a board game than it did an RPG. But again, for those of you who have played both, it is very polarizing, I think, among fans which one they preferred. So I'm kind of curious to see what everyone thinks in the comments below. Now, of course, this is the other major famous part of XCOM. We need to breach the UFO. This looks like a very bigger one, too. UFOs come in different sizes, which also affect what you can find and how many enemies. Now, if this one landed, there would be a lot more threats moving about. Alright, let's put him in crouch. And everyone line up at the door. Don't worry, a few more people are going to get killed here. Come on, team. Now, for people who wanted more complexity and more variables when it came to playing XCOM, the Long War mod, which was a partial conversion to Enemy Unknown, added a whole lot. I know they did a Long War for XCOM 2. But I know there were some complaints about them adding in more of the slogness of this XCOM into XCOM Enemy Unknown. So what did you guys think who played the Long War? And another game that came out that was also more like this, but with a modern touches, was Xenonauts. which I did not play, so I don't have first-hand knowledge of it. But it's time to breach and see how many people will die. Oh. There's smoke. Where are you, alien scum? There you are. Uh-oh. No! Oh, we lost someone else. Everybody, let's go. Get in there. This may be the last one, considering that 2 were killed in the crash. Oh, James. Come on, team. Do it. Yay. It's also possible to do damage and knock an alien unconscious to then take them back if you had a containment field. Or using the stun rods to basically bum rush someone. Alright. The only way to check to see if this is clear is end the turn. Yep, we got him. Well, not bad. We have some promotions. And promotions in XCOM are very big. As characters go up in rank, Squaddy is rank 2, and then Sergeant is rank 3, their base stats will all go up in numbers. So someone who's already really good at firing, or has high accuracy, will be much better. And you can see the difference there between this one with Helga has 67, while Ludmilla has 43. And like I said at the start, this is where the luck of the game comes into play. Because if you start and get everyone with firing accuracy in the 60s, you're going to be in a much better place than having a lot of people with like accuracy in the 40s. And this kind of leads into the snowball effect of playing XCOM. If you do really well, get a lot of characters starting out, and get them to survive and promoted, you can basically have walking death. But if you don't, or you lose your best characters, it becomes a lot harder to replace them. And getting to the end of XCOM requires you to have almost fully ranked or near fully ranked complement of soldiers to take on the final mission. So that's almost done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dismantle this, then I'll move this down to there. Research. Oh, did I not set something for research? I thought I did. And of course, we should replace our brave soldiers who were killed in the line of duty. And because of the lot more of the RPG factor of this game, with the use of numbers and projection like that, it is very easy to break XCOM if you know what you're doing. I believe there is a strategy that involves just buying and or manufacturing and selling nothing but laser rifles, because they had the best price to sell ratio. Which, if you think about it, if everyone on the planet has laser rifles, then we really don't need XCOM. But let's get this going here. We won't do... Okay, so we have some laser pistols finally done. We won't do another mission, because I think we'll wrap things up here. Oh, and there's our terror mission, which unfortunately we won't be doing because we just don't have the time for it. But I want to end this talking about XCOM's progression model and how it worked to create this very brilliant use of multi-system design. In XCOM Enemy Unknown, or I'm sorry, XCOM UFO Defense, the three systems basically tie into each other in a circular loop. What you do in one layer affects the other ones and makes progression go all around. When I'm playing at this layer, or the geoscape, by shooting down ships, it will improve my rating with the other countries, which means more money at the base layer. And of course, the UFOs I shoot down means that I'll be able to go on more tactical missions. At the base layer, of course, I'm going to be researching new technology to take out into the tactical or geoscape layer. And of course, I'm getting the money and resources I need to keep going and doing more at the geoscape. And then the tactical layer, obviously, the better my troops survive, the more I'll be able to take back to the base, and of course unlocking new researches or getting corpses to then get new stuff when I research them. And all this does is create a very effective progression curve of everything growing as time goes on. Not just for the player, but of course, as we said, more and nastier aliens start popping up. Everybody's favorite chrysalids, the ethereals, muttons, and so on. And then with the fact that terror missions and alien base attacks and them attacking your bases is random, or it's hidden underneath the layers of the game, means that there's a lot more replayability and variety compared to Enemy Unknown and XCOM 2. And that's again why a lot of people still gravitate towards UFO Defense and the older XCOM games. It's also why I'm really excited, because I want to see what Phoenix Point does, and I would love to see Firaxis do a third take, because I still like Enemy Unknown and XCOM 2. I thought they were really close to being just flat out perfect games, but the more gamey elements I think kind of hurt the replayability and just the variety that's there. If you notice, in this game, accuracy is dependent on the weapon and then with the squaddy themselves. And there is no such thing as cover in the same sense that XCOM or modern XCOM abstracted it into just a flat dodge rating. Here's the UFOpedia. So every gun in the game has a base accuracy to it, and then of course damage. And then that gets further modified. Let me get back here. So if you look here, this has 28 versus 46. And then as guns go up, or as we get to the better weapons, accuracy as a whole will improve, and then that will be coupled with the fact that our squaddies are getting promoted and getting leveled up like so. But with that said, we're going to wrap things up here. I really hope this all recorded, because this is take number 2. But XCOM UFO Defense is still an amazing game, and again, the use of multi-system design really does elevate it, and keeps it in that timeless sense as a really great example. And like I said at the start, there's not too many games that have made use of this. The only one that I can think of would be something like Star Control 2, which I would love to examine in a later video. But for those of you watching, can you think of other examples of multi-system games, such as XCOM? And like I said, I'm curious as to what are your thoughts for those of you who either never played XCOM and went to Enemy Unknown, what you thought about it, or if you've played them both, and which one do you prefer? Because again, they both feature very different foundations of design, despite having the same base DNA. This XCOM is more about RPGs, RPG design, and the numbers, while Firaxis' take is more board gamey, with a lot more abstraction work, and of course streamlining things to make the game run quicker. And like I said, the removal of time units by Firaxis is still a very controversial choice, and I think why there's still interest in people wanting to play something like Xenonauts, which had the time units in and was more like an up-to-date version of this game. With all that said, we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you so much for watching this play. Hopefully you can actually see it this time. And if you are new, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know if you have any suggestions for future Dissecting Design pieces, and check back daily for more discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games, with future Dissecting Design pieces usually happening each Monday. So once again, one final, I hope this actually was recorded, and I will catch you all next time. Take care. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course share with your friends. It always helps out. For daily posts on all manner of game design and industry topics, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the site and everything that I do, be sure to check out the Patreon campaign. If we can hit goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy, and I'll be able to support myself and my household. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at GWBycer for updates throughout the day and random thoughts from me. And lastly, you can find me on Twitch right over there at GWBycer for daily streams most nights around 10 Eastern. Thanks again for watching the video, and be sure to check out more great content coming to the Game Wisdom channel real soon.